"When you phoned," he said, "you mentioned something about wanting to pick my brain." "I almost forgot," the waiter said. He fished some 3x5 index cards in the breast pocket of his sport jacket and offered them to Early. "I came across a batch of notes that don't make much sense to me. I thought they might to you." The physicist glanced at the first card, then shuffled it to the back of the pack and read the next one. "Well, U-239 is definitely not a German U-boat, if that's any help." Early looked up. The waiter, so casual a moment ago, was hanging on his words. "It's uranium, and the other 239 is plutonium. The chemical notations mean that U-239 loses 2 electrons and converts 2 neutrons into protons to become Pu-239. Given the context, rods obviously refers to uranium rods. They are sealed in aluminum cylinders and inserted in graphite. You slow down a chain reaction by removing rods. You speed it up by adding rods. What about hair triggers?" "The thing that makes uranium and plutonium stand out in Mendeleev's crowd is that, atomically speaking, they have hair triggers. They can be made to explode relatively easily." "How can I explain it?" "Look, Silas, say you are operating an atomic pile, either with uranium or with plutonium. You are removing or adding rods to slow down or speed up the chain reaction, right? The size of the rods and their spacing are very delicate. Get one wrong and you wind up with an uncontrolled chain reaction, otherwise known as an atomic explosion." The physicist shuffled the top card to the back of the pack and read the next one. "Wedges refers to the way early uranium or plutonium bombs were constructed. Wedges of uranium in the case of the Hiroshima bomb. Wedges of plutonium in the Nagasaki bomb. Were arranged in circles, maybe we should call them vicious circles, and imploded by a ring of conventional dynamite placed around the perimeter. The implosion packed the wedges into a critical mass, which in turn resulted in a chain reaction and an atomic explosion. The thing to remember when configuring wedges of uranium or plutonium into bombs is this. For any given shape, there is a critical weight, and the stuff explodes instantly when it reaches that weight. So you'd better have your calculations down pat before you start to configure." Early handed the index cards back to the waiter. "The documents you came across were obviously old hat. Whoever wrote this was worrying about the various ways that someone, going through the motions of constructing a primitive atomic device, might bring on an accidental atomic explosion." Early smiled across the table. "Has what I said helped you in any way?" The waiter had a faraway look in his eyes as he murmured, "I'm not sure."